Okay, another math video from algebratesthelper.com. And what I want to focus on in this video is the definition of a variable. So what is a variable? Now, a lot of you out there probably already know what a variable is and have a probably a real good idea of what a variable is and then, what to do with one, right? But some of you might just be reviewing algebra or coming out of basic math and maybe you're starting maybe a pre-algebra course, etc. And you really need to have a good understanding of what a variable is. So let's go ahead and ask the question again. What is a variable? Well, in its most simplest term, a variable is nothing more than a placeholder for a number. So right off the bat, okay, and by the way, we're looking at examples of variables here. These are just symbols that can represent a number, okay, or represent a value. So a box, for example, a box symbol could represent a number, an X, okay, or a Y, or this symbol here, which is a pi, okay, pi symbol in the Greek alphabet represents the famous number pi, 3.15, etc. It keeps going on forever and ever. So instead of writing that number, we just gonna assign a symbol to it, okay, or a variable. So here's another one, and here's some other ones. You might want to see these in trigonometry, theta, gamma, and then here's another really extremely important one in math, E. But the most important thing that you have to realize is that variables represent a number. So this is, if you kind of think back in like an elementary school, okay, your basic math when you're, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I mean, really, what are you doing? You're doing things like 4 plus 10. Maybe you're working with fractions, 10 over 15. You're working with numbers, okay? And then as you make a transition into algebra, what we start doing is we basically are doing the same type of operations, but instead of numbers, we start to work with variables. So we might have like x plus y or x over y, okay? But remember, these symbols or these letters still represent numbers, and that's why oftentimes um, as a teacher, I'll look back and if at a student's history, and if they didn't do well in elementary school, they're definitely not going to do well in algebra, okay? Because really, algebra is like doing arithmetic, but you're doing arithmetic with variables, okay? So you have to think to yourself, okay, these are symbols and letters, but really I'm going to treat them as if they were a number. So, um, you still have to know how to deal with fractions and how to multiply, etc. Okay, especially fractions. A lot of students are weak in fractions, and that comes up over and over again in algebra. So, right off the bat, a variable is a placeholder. Okay, so that really answers what is the definition of a variable. And if you think about it, you've been dealing with variables way back when you were in probably first grade or second grade. If you remember problems like this, I certainly remember them. Let's say you have a box plus 2 equals 5. Okay, so your teacher would give you something like that, and are saying, okay, something here, something we're going to plug into this box, plus 2 equals 5. And all the kids would be like, oh yeah, pick me, I know, I know, I know. They're raising their hands, or help, I want to, I want the lollipop, I want, whatever reward they're going to get, because they know, they're thinking to themselves, oh yeah, if I plug a 3 into here, that's going to make that true. And really, this right here, this box plus 2 equals 5 is an equation. So without you even realizing it, you were doing algebra way back when you were in 5, 6, 7 years old. Okay, because this box, I could certainly just put an x there, right? X plus 2 equals 5. Now your teacher wasn't teaching you everything like subtract 2 from both sides of the equation, etc. But conceptually, you were doing algebra. Okay, and this concept of a placeholder for a number, was taught to you early on. Okay, but in algebra and beyond, generally speaking, the variables that you're going to be using are lowercase letters, x, y, z, things like this. E and pi, they're reserved for really important numbers. And then in trigonometry and in calculus, we use some other type of variables that come up. But anyways, hopefully this video was helpful and at least a little bit interesting, and maybe a tiny bit entertaining. I try not to bore you, try to help you out. So please come over to our site, algebratesthelper.com. We have many free videos, tutorials, all designed to make math easy to learn. Okay, And have a great day. Good luck and take care.